Hello everyone, this is Deepak Nemani, your LRDI mentor, welcoming you all on the last mile of CAT. Now before we go ahead and solve some LRDI sets, so here's a little bit info about me. So I have previously worked with big brands like L&T and SBI. So I was the State Bank of India 2016 probationary officer, and on confirmation in the year 2018, I was promoted to deputy manager, and I had served as branch manager in State Bank of India One Town branch, Visakhapatnam. And now I am into mentoring students for CAT. And I have like 6 years of teaching experience where I have mentored over 2500 students. And also I have been taking CAT exam for the past few years. And I had 99 plus percentile in both LRDI and quantitative aptitude sections of CAT. And I also have a crazy level of expertise in navigating through these two sections with ease. Now, before we dive into the video further, subscribe to Apex CAT coaching channel. Share this video among your friends who are preparing for CAT because studies become more fun with us and your friends. And here's what I have got you in this video. So I will be discussing the approach that you need to follow while attempting the LRDI section of CAT. And how can we categorize sets as easy, moderate and difficult? And in this video, I will be solving and analyzing LRDI section of CAT 21 slot 1. And I will also be sharing you the score versus percentile in the LRDI section of CAT 21 slot 1. That is, what should be your score to get 85 percentile? What should be your score to get 90 percentile, to get 95 percentile and 99 percentile? Now in CAT 21, there were 4 sets in LRDI section, 2 sets having 6 questions in each set and 2 sets having 4 questions in each set. And a total of 20 questions were asked in LRDI section. So without any further delay, let's get started. Now coming to set 1, I'll be reading the statements very slow so that it will be easy for you to understand and analyze. But while you're attempting CAT, you should be having a very good reading speed to scan all the sets in the LRDI section. Now, a journal plans to publish 18 research papers written by 8 authors A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H in 4 issues of the journal scheduled in January, April, July, and October. So, we have 8 authors who have written 18 research papers and they are scheduled to publish in 4 months. They are January, April, July, and October. Each of the research papers was written by exactly one of the 8 authors. So, you cannot have 2 authors writing the same research paper. 5 papers were scheduled in each of the first 2 issues, while 4 were scheduled in each of the last 2 issues. So, in the months of January and April, 5 research papers are being scheduled in each month, and in July and October, 4 research papers are scheduled to be published. Every author wrote at least 1 paper and at most 3 papers. So, the number of research papers written by these 8 authors can be either 1, 2, or 3. So you cannot have any author writing more than 3 research papers. The total number of papers written by A, D, G, and H must double the total number of papers written by the other 4 authors. 4 of the authors were from India and 2 each were from Japan and China. So we have one more parameter being introduced here. Countries that they belong to. Each author belonged to exactly one of the 3 areas: manufacturing, automation, and logistics. So one more parameter, the area that they belong to. Now 4 of the authors were from the logistics area, 2 were from the automation area, so the remaining 2 will be from manufacturing, obviously. As per the journal policy, none of the authors could have more than 1 paper in any issue of the journal. So the meaning of this statement is, for example, if I consider A writing 3 research papers, so in the month of January or in any of these 4 months, you cannot have 2 research papers written by A being published, right? You can have only 1 research paper written by any of these 8 authors being published in an issue, right? You cannot have 2 research papers written by the same person being published in the same month. And we are given with 9 additional statements. And if I look at the questions, what is the correct sequence of number of papers written by B, C, E, and G respectively? So we should be in a position to determine the number of papers written by all these 8 authors. Now, how many papers were written by Indian authors? So you need to determine the countries that these 8 authors belong to. Which of the following statements must be true? So you can answer this question once you solve the entire set. And similarly, 4th and 5th, which of the following statements is false? Now, which of the following is the correct sequence of number of papers by authors from automation, manufacturing and logistic areas respectively? So I can answer all these 5 questions once I have a definite solution for this question. And you will be having a unique definite solution for this question, and these type of sets are called as closed sets, where you have definite possible solution at the end, right? So my analysis of this question is, we are given with too much data, we have too many unknowns here, more parameters, and we are also given with more statements. So this is a question from puzzles. So if you are good at puzzles, you can think of starting your attempt with this set, but that depends on the remaining 3 sets as well. So as of now, I consider this to be moderate. So if the remaining questions are really difficult, I can start my attempt with this set. The reason being, all the information that is required to solve this question is in front of us only. We are given with 9 statements. Now moving ahead to set 2. Ganga, Kaveri and Narmada are 3 women who buy 4 raw materials, mango, apple, banana and milk, and sell 5 finished products, mango smoothie, apple smoothie, banana smoothie, mixed fruit smoothie and fruit salad. Table 1 gives information about the raw materials required to produce the 5 finished products. 1 unit of a finished product requires 1 unit of each of the raw materials mentioned in the second column of the table. So to make 1 mango smoothie, you need 1 unit of milk and 1 unit of mango. Similarly for apple smoothie, banana smoothie, mixed fruit smoothie and fruit salad. Now 1 unit of milk, mango, apple and banana cost rupees 5, 3, 2 and 1 respectively. So the cost of 1 unit of milk is rupees 5, mango it's 3, apple it's 2 and banana it's 1. Now each unit of a finished product is sold for a profit equal to 2 times the number of raw materials used to make the product. For example, apple smoothie is made with 2 raw materials, apple and milk. So it will be sold for a profit of 4 rupees per unit. Now first let's try finding out the cost price of mango smoothie, the cost incurred to make 1 unit of mango smoothie. The cost of mango is rupees 3 and cost of 1 unit of milk is rupees 5. So the cost incurred is 8. Now you have to sell this for a profit of 4 rupees. So plus 4, so cost price plus profit will give us the selling price. So 8 plus 4. So the selling price of 1 mango smoothie is rupees 12. Right. So you can find out the selling prices of apple smoothie, banana smoothie, mixed fruit smoothie and fruit salad. Now we are also given that leftover raw materials are sold during the last business hour of the day for a loss of 1 rupee per unit. For example, if you are left with 1 unit of milk, so in table 2 we have 4 hours, and in R1 Ganga had a revenue of 23 rupees, Kaveri 19 rupees, Narmada 31 rupees. And we are given with additional 4 statements stating that no one except possibly Ganga sold any mango smoothie. So if we have anyone selling mango smoothie, it has to be Ganga. Each woman sold either 0 or 1 unit of any single finished product in any hour. So you cannot have any woman selling 2 mango smoothies or 2 apple smoothies or 2 banana smoothies. Each woman had exactly 1 unit each of 2 different raw materials as leftovers. So we have each woman having 2 leftovers at the end and 1 unit of each. So you can have 1 unit of milk and 1 unit of mango as leftovers in the 4th hour. No one had any banana leftover, right? And we are asked 4 questions based on the data that is given to us. Now let's look at the questions. What best can be concluded about the number of units of fruit salad sold in the 1st hour? Which of the following is necessarily true? What best can be concluded about the total number of units of milk the 3 women had in the beginning? So if you look at the options, you have either 19 or 20, either 18 or 19 or 20, either 18 or 19, either 17 or 18 or 19. Now coming to 10th question, if it is known that 3 leftover units of mangoes were sold during the last business hour of the day, how many apple smoothies were sold during the day? So the number of apple smoothies that were sold during the day depends on the leftover units of mangoes which were sold in the last business hour. So that tells me that you will not be having a definite possible solution at the end for this question. Right, because in 10th question you are given with additional information. So you need to use the additional information that is given in the question to solve 10th question. So which tells me that there is a possibility of having at least two possible solutions for this question. And these type of sets are called as open sets, where you do not have a definite solution at the end. And I rate this question to be a moderate level question because there are no direct questions which you can answer just by looking at the data. Right? You need to solve for the entire set. You need to get all the possibilities, and then only you can solve these 4 questions. Now, if you have to pick a set between these two, that depends on your areas of strength. So if you are good at solving logical puzzles, you can pick set 1 first. And if you are good with numbers, then you can think of picking this set. And I consider these two sets to be moderate level sets only. None of these two sets is an easy set. Now coming to set 3. A, B, C, D, E, F and G are 7 people in a town. Any pair of them could either be strangers, acquaintances or friends. All relationships are mutual. For example, if A is a friend of B, then B is also a friend of A. Similarly, if A is a stranger to B, then B is also a stranger to A. Partial information about the number of friends, acquaintances and strangers of each of these people among them is given in the table below. Now let me consider A. Now we have 6 other people, B, C, D, E, F and G. Now these 6 people can be either friends or acquaintances or strangers to A. Now we are given that A has 1 acquaintance and 4 strangers. So that completes 5 persons. Now you will be left with 1 more person, and that has to be a friend of A. Right. Similarly, Gautam. Considering Gautam, you are left with 6 other persons. So these 6 persons should be either acquaintances or strangers or friends of G. Now we have 3 acquaintances and 2 strangers to G. So the remaining leftover person should be a friend of G. Right? And we are given with 5 additional statements to answer the given 6 questions. And if I look at the 6 questions, who are Gautam's acquaintances? Which of these pairs share the same type of relationship? Who is an acquaintance of A? Who is an acquaintance of C? How many friends does E have? And how many people are either a friend or a friend of E? Now all these questions are given with definite answers. So this tells me that you will be left with only one solution at the end. So this is a closed set. Now if I have to compare this with the previous 2 sets, I rate this set somewhat easier when compared to the other 2 sets. Right, so this is a question from logical puzzles, and this is easier when compared to the first set because we are given with less statements. The data is easily understandable, right? And if you know how to solve these type of questions, this is definitely a doable set. Now if I have to start with one set among these 3, I will be starting my attempt with this set. Now moving ahead to set 4. The horizontal bars in the above diagram represent 2020 aggregate sales in million rupees of a company for the different subcategories of its products. The top 4 product subcategories, bookcases, chairs, furnishings and tables, they belong to furniture product category. The bottom 4 product subcategories, accessories, copiers, machines and phones, they belong to technology product category, while all other product subcategories belong to the office supply product category. For each of the product subcategories, there is a vertical line indicating the sales of the corresponding subcategory in 2019. Now we are given with 3 product categories and 17 product subcategories, and we are given with sales of all these subcategory products in 2020 and also in 2019 in million rupees. Now for example, let me consider bookcases. Now the sales in 2020 is given by the tip of this bar, so which is close to 2.2. And the sales of bookcases in 2019 will be somewhat close to 2, less than 2. So let me consider this as 1.9. So in 2020 the sales is 2.2 million rupees, whereas in 2019 it is 1.9 million rupees. Now similarly for chairs, now let me find the sales in 2020 as well as in 2019. 2020 it is exactly 7 million rupees. Now in 2019 this is close to 6 and greater than 6. Right? So this I can consider this to be 6.2 million rupees. And similarly you can find the sales of the remaining products in 2020 as well as 2019. And it is also mentioned that the top 4 subcategory products comes under furniture category, and the bottom 4 subcategories come under technology product category, whereas the remaining subcategories, they belong to office supply product category. Now let's look at the questions. The total sales in 2019 from products in office supplies category is closest to. Now, if you can manage to find the sales of all these subcategory products in 2019, you can answer this question. The percentage increase in sales in furniture category from 2019 to 2020 is closest to. So all you need to do is you need to find the sales of these four subcategory products in 2019 and 2020. And we are asked to find the percentage increase is closest to. So you are not expected to get the exact values. Okay, because this can be either 2.2 or 2.15 or 2.25. So we are not asked the exact values. We are asked to find the values closest to them. So, but you cannot consider this to be 2.5. So that has to be between 2 and 2.5, somewhat closer to 2. So you can consider that as 2.2. Now coming to 19th question. How many subcategories had sales of 4 million or more in 2019 and registered an increase in sales in excess of 25% in 2020? Again, an easy question. Now coming to question 20, the improvement index for a category is the maximum percentage increase in sales from 2019 to 2020 among any of its subcategories. The correct order of categories in increasing order of the improvement index is. So this is again an easy question. So out of all these four sets, this is the easiest one. So you can start your attempting by solving this set first, then you can attempt third, then either one or two depending on the areas of your strength. And one concern is I see a lot of students more inclined towards logical reasoning sets compared to data interpretation sets, right? So please don't fall for these traps. You should be inclined towards finding the easiest of all the four sets, right? It can be a set from logical reasoning or data interpretation, so it doesn't matter, the set is easy. So now we are done with scanning the entire LRDI section. Now we have the order of sets in which we need to attempt. So without any further delay, let's move ahead to solving the sets. Now my analysis of LRDI section of CAT 21 slot 1 is you have one easy set and three moderate level sets. So overall difficulty is moderate level only. Now let's look at score versus percentile of LRDI section of CAT 21 slot 1. Now in order to get 85 percentile plus, your score should have been 15 marks. So if you had scored 15 marks in this paper, your percentile would be 85 plus, right? I'm talking about the raw score, not the normalized score, right? Now in order to get 90 percentile in this paper, your score should have been 18 plus. So you need to answer 6 questions with 100% accuracy. Now 15 marks is 5 questions with 100% accuracy. In order to get 90 percentile, you need to answer 6 questions with 100% accuracy, right? Now to cross 95 percentile, your score should have been 21 marks. So that means 7 questions. And in order to get 99 percentile plus, your score should have been 27 plus 27 to 30. That means you need to attempt either 9 or 10 questions. Let us say 10 questions in this paper with 100% accuracy to get 99 percentile. So please understand that accuracy matters the most in LRDI section, right? Now do we have 10 questions in this paper to attempt in 40 minutes? Definitely yes. Okay, now let's move ahead to the easiest of all the four sets, the fourth set. Now to solve this question, I will be making a small table like this where we have categories, subcategory of products 2020 and 2019 years, and you need to enter the sales of all these subcategory products in the year 2020 and 2019. Now bookcases in the year 2020, so the value corresponding to the tip of the bar, which is 2.2 here and 1.9 in 2019. So chairs 7 in 2020, exactly 7, and this is after 6, close to 6. So let me consider this as 6.2. Now furnishings, so this is just after 2, so let this be 2.1, and in the year 2019 it's exactly 2. Now tables it's exactly 4.5 in 2020 and 4 in 2019. Now coming to office supply category, binders, this is greater than 5, close to 5.5. Let me consider this as 5.3 in the year 2020, and this is just after 3.5, close to 3.5. Let me consider this to be 3.6. Now art, this is just after 0.5, so let me consider this as 0.6, and in 2019 you can consider that to be either 0.4 or 0.45. Now coming to appliances, it's 3.1 in the year 2020 and it's close to 2, so let me consider this as 1.9 in 2019. Now envelopes in 2020 is less than, sales in envelopes in 2020 is less than that of 2019, so let me consider this to be 0.2, and let me consider this as 0.35, or you can also consider that as 0.4. Now fasteners, let me consider this as 0.1 because it's very close to 0, and let me consider this as 0.05. Now labels, this is close to 0.5, so let me consider this as 0.3, and in 2019 0.2. Now coming to paper, it's exactly 2 million in the year 2020 and 1.5 in 2019. Now storage, just above 5, so let me consider this as 5.1, and this is after 4, close to 4.5. Let me consider this as 4.3. Now coming to supplies, in 2020 it's close to 1, so let me consider this as 1.2, and this is very close to 1, so you can consider that as 1.1 or 1.05. Now coming to technology products, accessories, it's close to 4.5, so let me consider this as 4.4 in 2020, and this is just above 3, so let me consider this to be 3.1. Copiers, 4.6 in 2020 and 3.6 in 2019. Now machines, sales in 2020 is less than that of sales in 2019, so this is 3.2, and in 2019 it's 4.1. Now phones, it's more than 7.5, so let me consider this as 7.7, and this is greater than 5.5, close to 6, so let me consider this to be 5.8. Now once you make this table, you can attempt all the 4 questions asked based on the given set. Now let's move to 17th question. The total sales in 2019 from products in office supplies category is closest to. So we are not asked to find the exact values. We are asked to find the numbers which are close to the values that we have got. And even if there is some discrepancies with respect to these values, you should be getting the same answer. For example, if you consider this as 3.5 or 3.65, the answer will not change, right? So we are asked to find the sum of all these numbers. So 3.6 plus 0.45 plus 1.9 plus 0.35 plus 0.5 plus 0.2 plus 1.5 plus 4.3 plus 1.05. This is somewhat close to 13.5. So the answer for this question should be option C. So you can just answer this question just by adding these values, right? Now moving to 18th question. The percentage increase in sales in furniture category from 2019 to 2020 is closest to. Now how do we find percentage increase? We have this formula, final value minus initial value by initial value into 100. Now what is the final value here? Sales in the year 2020 in furniture category, and initial value is sales in the year 2019 of furniture category. Now let's find the sales in furniture category in the year 2019. So that's nothing but 1.9 plus 6.2 plus 2 plus 4.4. Now 2 plus 4.4 is 6.4, 6.4 plus 6.2, that's 12.6, 12.6 plus 1.9, this is nothing but 14.5. So your initial value has become 14.5. Now final value is nothing but sum of sales in the furniture category in the year 2020. That would be 2.2 plus 7 plus 2.1 plus 4.5. Now 2.1 plus 4.5, that's 6.6, 6.6 plus 7, 13.6, 13.6 plus 2.2, 15.8. So sales in the year 2020 is 15.8 million rupees. So your final value is 15.8 by 14.5. Now this is 1.3 by 14.5 into 100. Now you need not calculate this exact value to answer this question. The reason being it's simple. What is 10% of 14.5? 1.45. Now 1.3 is less than 1.45. So 1.3 will be less than 10% of 14.5. So you can eliminate option A and option C. Now 1% of 14.5 is 0.145, which is very far from 1.3. So you can also eliminate this. The answer for this question should be option B. Right? Now moving to 19th question. How many subcategories had sales of 4 million or more in 2019 and registered an increase in the sales in excess of 25% in 2020? Now first, let's identify the subcategories which had sales of 4 million or more. So you need not consider this. You can consider this. Yes, no, 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 no again, no, no, no. We have storage. Not 1.05. You can ignore this, yes, and yes. Right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products. Now 6.2 to 7. Now what is 25% of 6? 25% of 6 is 1.5. Now if 25% of 6 is 1.5, 25% of 6.2 should be higher than 1.5. Now what is the difference between 6.2 and 7? It's 0.8, which is less than 1.5. Right? So the decrease is less than 25% of 6. So it will be obviously less than 25% of 6.2. So you need not consider this. Now 4.5 from 4.4. Now 4.4 to 4.5. Now what is 25% of 4? 25% of 4 is 1. Okay, so 4.4 plus 1 should be 5.4 plus. If I consider that there should be a 25% or more increase. Now we have 4.5. So I can also say that this increase is less than 25%. Right? Now 4.3 to 5.1. Now similarly 4.3 plus 25% of 4 is 1. So the final value should be more than 5.3. Okay, which is not. We have 5.1 here. So you can also ignore this. That cannot be considered. Now 3.2 from 4.1. This is a share decrease. So you need not check for this. Now 5.8 to 7.7. So there is an increase of 1.9. Now 1.9 by 5.8. Okay, now let me increase this by 0.1. So let me consider this as 2 by 6 into 100. So I'm just using approximations. Now which is nothing but 1 by 3 or 100 by 3, which is 33.33%. So I can say that this percentage change will be very much close to 33.33%. So we have only one product which had an increase in sales in excess of 25% among all these categories. Right? So the answer for this question should be 1. Now coming to the last question. The improvement index for a category is the maximum percentage increase in sales from 2019 to 2020 among any of its subcategories. The correct order of categories in increasing order of the improvement index is. Okay, first we need to find the improvement index of all these three categories: furniture, office supply and technology, and then we need to arrange these categories in the increasing order of the improvement index. Now what is improvement index? Improvement index for a category is the maximum percentage increase in sales from 2019 to 2020 among any of its subcategories. Now for example, let me consider furniture. Now we have 4 subcategories under furniture: bookcases, chairs, furnishings and tables. Now you need to find that subcategory which has the maximum increase of sales from 2019 to 2020, and that percentage increase will be its improvement index. For example, if I consider bookcases, in 2019 the sales is 1.9 millions, whereas in 2020 it's 2.2 million. Now chairs, it's 6.2 here, 7. Now this is 2 to 2.1, and this will be 4.4 to 4.5. Right? Now let's find the percentage increase in sales from 2019 to 2020 for these four subcategories. Now here there is an increase of 0.3, 0.3 by 1.9 into 100. So this is nothing but 3 by, I can consider 1.2, I will approximate 1.9. Now I can approximate 1.9 to 2. Okay, now I will be writing this as 3 by 20 into 100. Right? So this is nothing but 300 by 20, which is near to 15%. Now since the denominator is less than 2, or the denominator is less than 20, the denominator will be 19 here, 3 by 19. I can say that the percentage increase will be somewhat greater than 15%. Okay, so here let me consider 15%, whereas here there is an increase of 0.8 millions by 6.2 into 100. Right, now let me approximate the denominator to 6.4. Let me increase the denominator, so that becomes 8 by 6.4. Sorry, 0.8 by 6.4 can also be written as 8 by 64 into 100. So which is nothing but 8 by 64, 1 by 8, 100 by 8, that's nothing but 12.5%. Right, so the percentage increase for shares is 12.5%, which is less than 15%. Now here there is an increase of 0.1 by 2 into 100, which is nothing but an increase of 5%, and here there is an increase of 0.1 by 4.4 into 100, which is further less than 5%. Or let me consider this as 2%. Now this will be less than 2.5 for sure, because 0.1 by 4 is 2.5%. Right, now let me consider that as 2%. Now you need to find the maximum values among these four values: 15%, 12.5, 5%, and 2%. So we have 15% here, the value is somewhat greater than 15%. So that becomes the improvement index for furniture. So this is 15%. Now coming to office supply. The subcategory which has the highest improvement index in office supply category is fasteners, because from 0.05 it has now become 0.1 in the year 2020, which means it got doubled. So getting double means there is an increase of 100%. Okay, so the improvement index for office supply category is 100%. Now coming to technology. Right, now we have four subcategories under technology. Now we have 15%, we have 100%. You need not calculate the exact improvement index of technology, because we are not asked to find the values here. We are asked to arrange these in the increasing order of the improvement index. Now for all these subcategories, I can say that the improvement index will be less than 100% for sure, because for none of these subcategories you do not have sales getting doubled. So improvement index will be less than 100% for sure. So office supply has the highest improvement index. So if that's the case, now since we are asked to arrange these things in the increasing order, right, you need to have office supply here. Now we need to check if the improvement index of technology is more than or less than improvement index of furniture. Now for that, let me consider accessories subcategory under technology. Okay, so now under accessories subcategory, the sales have become 4.4 from 3.1. Right, so there is an increase of 1.3 million rupees. Right, and the percentage change will be 1.3 by 3.1 into 100. Now let me approximate these numerator and denominator. Now 1.3 I will be considering that as 1.2, and 3.1 I will be considering that as 3 into 100. So which is nothing but 120 by 3, 40%. So the percentage increase here is close to 40%, which is greater than 15%. Right, so I can say that the improvement index of technology is greater than improvement index of furniture. Okay, so this should be the order of these categories when arranged in the increasing order of the improvement index, and the answer for this question should be option A. And this completes the set. Now coming to set 3. So we have 7 people in a town. Any pair of them could be either strangers or acquaintances or friends. And we are also given with a partial fill table with respect to number of acquaintances and strangers and friends of all these 7 persons. And we are also given with additional 5 statements. So in order to solve this question, I will be making a small table like this. So this is same as this table, and I will be making an extra table in this way to solve this question, right? And we had also discussed that A had one friend and G had one friend. Now, can we have A being A's friend? No. Can we have A being A's acquaintance? No. Can we have A being A's stranger? No. So you cannot have A being his own friend or acquaintance or stranger. So I'll be making a cross here. Now similarly, B cannot be a friend of B, B cannot be an acquaintance of B, or B cannot be a stranger to B. Similarly, you will be having crosses in all these cells, right? And we are also given with additional 5 statements. So all you need to do is you need to insert these 5 statements into this table. Now let us see how. Now A, B and C are mutual strangers. So B and C are strangers to A. Now A and C are strangers to B, and A and B are strangers to C. So S refers to strangers, A refers to acquaintances, and F refers to friends. So we had inserted this statement into this table. Now A, D and F are E's friends. So A is a friend of E, D is a friend of E, and F is a friend of E. Okay, so E is a friend of A, E is a friend of D, and E is a friend of F. Now we had inserted this statement also. Now we had A having only one friend, and that is E. Now we have F having only one friend, and that is E. Now it is also mentioned that C and G are friends. So G is a friend of C. So C will be a friend of G. Now we have G having only one friend. Now we are done with this. Right? Every friend of A is an acquaintance of B, and every acquaintance of B is a friend of A. Right? So every friend of A is an acquaintance of B. So we have A having only one friend, that is E. So E should be acquaintance of B. So if E is an acquaintance of B, so B should be an acquaintance of E as well. And B should be having only one acquaintance. And it is also given that every friend of B is an acquaintance of A, and every acquaintance of A is a friend of B. So A has only one acquaintance, so B should be having only one friend. Right? So B will be having 4 strangers. Now let's try to find out who is the friend of B. Now can D be the friend of B? Yes, possible. Now can F be the friend of B? No, because F had only one friend, which is E. Right? So B cannot be a friend of F, or F cannot be a friend of B. Now can we have G being B's friend? Again no, because G had only one friend, and that is C. So the friend of B can't be F or G, so it should be D. So if D is friend of B, B will be a friend of D. And if D is friend of B, D will be an acquaintance of A, and A will be an acquaintance of D. Now we have A having 4 strangers, 1 acquaintance and 1 friend. Here we have 2 strangers, 1 acquaintance and 1 friend. So the remaining 2 should be strangers to A. So F and G are strangers to A. So A is a stranger to both F and G. Now similarly, B had 4 strangers, 1 acquaintance and 1 friend. So F and G should be strangers to B as well. So B is a stranger to both F and G. Now G had 2 strangers, and who are they? A and B. Right? So we are done with this value also. So the remaining 3 persons, D, E and F, should be acquaintances of G. So D is an acquaintance of G, E is an acquaintance of G, F is an acquaintance of G. So if that's the case, G is an acquaintance of D, G is an acquaintance of E, and G is an acquaintance of F. Now we have D having one acquaintance, two acquaintances and 2 friends. Now it is also mentioned that D should be having 2 strangers, and they should be C and F. So if C and F are strangers to D, D is a stranger to both C and F. Done. Now we also have E having one stranger, and that should be C. So C is a stranger to E, so E is a stranger to C. And it is also mentioned that C had one acquaintance, and who should that be? F. So C is an acquaintance of F. Now let's try filling this table. Now C has 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 strangers, one acquaintance and one friend. Now D has 2 strangers, 2 acquaintances, 2 friends. Now E has 1 stranger, 3 friends and 2 acquaintances. Now F has 3 strangers, 1 friend and 2 acquaintances. Now once you have this table, you can answer all the 6 questions that were asked based on the given information. Right? So we have 6 questions. So if you had solved this, you would have got 18 marks here, 18 plus 12, 30. So answering these 10 questions, which are not relatively that difficult, will fetch you 99 plus percentile in LRDI section of CAT 21 slot 1. So you are expected to solve these 2 questions only to get a very good percentile in LRDI section. So consider selection of sets very important, because let us consider this scenario. So you had identified the easiest of all the 4 sets. So you had started your attempt with set 4, the data interpretation one, right? So can I say after 12 minutes or 15 minutes, you would have attempted all the 4 questions? So after 15 minutes, you will be having 12 marks in your hand. Think about your confidence levels, right? So some guy who had started with first set will be having 0 marks at the end of 15 minutes. Okay, or some other difficult set. So the chance of making a mistake in that scenario is very much high when compared to starting with an easy set. So while practicing, spend some time, some extra time. So you can spend like 5 to 6 minutes to identify the easy set. So don't consider that to be a waste of time. Consider that as an investment to use the remaining time effectively. If you feel LRDI section difficult, it's difficult for everyone, guys. Okay, so don't be in a haste. So try solving all the questions with a calm and a composed mind, right? So don't be anxious. Spend enough time in selection of sets, but not too much of time, because as I said earlier in this video, you should be having a very good reading speed. You can't go into specific details of each and every question. You should be scanning the entire data, just like what is given, what was asked. Do you know how to solve this set? You need to identify that. Right? So I will be posting another video where I will be solving the remaining 2 sets, right? And this is how you are expected to attempt LRDI section. So thank you guys. We'll see you guys in the part 2 of this video where I will be solving the other 2 questions.